Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a close look at Executive Order 14165.
That's right, titled Securing Our Borders. It was issued January 20th, 2025.
And hit the Federal Register about 10 days later. So our mission today is to really unpack its main goals and the actions it lays out.
Yep. And we're drawing mainly from the order itself, as published in the Federal Register, plus info from the White House site and Wikisource.
Great, so let's start with the basics. Section 1, the purpose. What's the rationale given in the order?
Well, the order frames it quite strongly. It talks about responding to what it calls a large-scale invasion over the last 4 years.
An invasion, okay.
Yeah, and it expresses concern about who might be entering, mentioning potential terrorists, foreign spies, cartel members, that sort of thing.
And it criticizes specific previous policies.
It does. It directly calls out catch and release policies. The argument made is that these policies undermine the law, put public safety at risk, and strain resources.
And there's that core phrase mentioned.
Right. A nation without borders is not a nation. That's presented as the foundational belief here.
Which leads to a commitment to use all available resources, it seems.
Precisely. So Section 2 then outlines the actual policy objectives. There are 7 main aims listed.
7 pillars, essentially, for what follows.
Exactly. Building physical barriers is one. Deterring illegal entry. Maximizing detention.
Okay, detention.
Pending removal. Then prompt removals themselves. Prosecuting immigration crimes. Fostering federal-state partnerships for enforcement.
And the last one.
Achieving, and this is their term, complete operational control of the border.
Complete control. Okay, so let's see how they plan to achieve that. Section 3 talks about physical barriers.
Yeah, this is pretty direct. It orders the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security to deploy personnel and also construct barriers, both temporary and permanent ones, along the southern border.
A very concrete step, then.
Absolutely. Building walls, essentially, or reinforcing existing ones.
Then Section 4, deployment of personnel. More boots on the ground.
It seems so. It tasks the same Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security with deploying enough personnel. But it also, interestingly, brings in the Attorney General.
How so?
Well, the AG and the DHS Secretary are directed to supplement these efforts using specific sections of the Immigration and Nationality Act, the INA.
What does that mean, practically speaking, using parts of the INA?
It likely involves provisions that allow for cross-designation, possibly enabling state or local law enforcement to perform some federal immigration duties under certain agreements. That's often been, a complex area legally.
Right. Okay, Section 5 moves to detention. We heard that in the objectives.
Yes. This mandates that the Secretary of Homeland Security must maximize detention for immigration violations and, crucially, end catch and release.
Can you remind us what catch and release generally refers to?
Sure. It's basically the practice where migrants apprehended at the border are released into the U.S. to await their immigration court hearings, often because there isn't enough detention space or due to other factors.
And this order says, stop that.
Explicitly, it directs DHS to issue new policy guidance to end it.
Got it. Section 6, resumption of migrant protection protocols. MPP, that sounds familiar.
It is MPP, often called Remain in Mexico. This section orders the Secretary of Homeland Security to reinstate it along the southern border.
Which means?
It means certain asylum seekers arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border could be sent back to Mexico to wait while their U.S. immigration cases proceed.
Okay. Then Section 7, adjusting parole policies. What's happening here?
This is significant. It orders DHS to stop using the CBP-1 mobile app for processing individuals into the country under parole authority at ports of entry.
Stop using the app for parole.
And it terminates specific categorical parole programs, like the ones set up for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans.
Wow, okay. So a major shift in parole.
A definite tightening. It states all southern border policies must align with those objectives back in Section 2.
Makes sense. Moving quickly through the next few, Section 8 calls for more international cooperation.
Yeah, directing the Secretary of State to negotiate more agreements with other countries.
Section 9, DNA and identification requirements.
Mandating collection of DNA from detained non-citizens as required by the DNA Fingerprint Act of 2005, and using technology to verify family relationships.
Expanding the tools used, basically.
Seems that way. Then Section 10 prioritizes prosecuting border-related crimes like smuggling and trafficking.
And Section 11 asks for more ideas.
Within 14 days, yes. Recommendations from various secretaries on even more measures for border security.
And finally, Section 12, the usual general provisions.
Right. Standard language stating the order operates within existing law, depends on funding, and doesn't create new private rights to sue or anything like that.
So summing it all up, this executive order looks like a really comprehensive strategy.
It certainly aims to be. It tackles the border through multiple angles: physical barriers, more personnel, stricter detention, changes to asylum via MPP, tightening parole, plus international and tech aspects.
When you lay it all out like that, the sheer scale of the changes, the infrastructure, the policy shifts on things like parole and asylum,
Hmm.
you really have to consider the enormous logistical undertaking involved.
Absolutely. Implementing all of this would be a massive challenge.
And beyond the logistics, it prompts you to think about the potential impacts, right? The human consequences, the effects on communities on both sides of the border. What are the different viewpoints we should be considering when we evaluate something this significant?